Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the video today. Hope you are doing well. Today we're going to be reacting to well, if you can see the title here, new information hopefully for BO6 Zombies, and there was an interview recently with the Treyarch devs. We're going to react to Mr. Rockwaffle's video specifically just because I love this guy and, you know, he's awesome. But let's get this going. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
The Black Ops 6 developers just did something amazing. In this new interview that we're going to watch through today, they talked about how Black Ops 6 Zombies is the best zombies mode they've ever made and why. They mentioned Edward Richterson. They even started explaining stuff from the Ether storyline that was a mystery up until this point. In Mob of the Dead, of all places. Such an interesting interview. Just before we jump into it, if you want to get a discount on these U2's figures, they're available on the U2's store now for a limited time, and you can use code Milo to get
the little ray gun from the mystery box or the teddy bear. F the teddy bear though. All right, let's get to the interview. Here we go.
A lot of that a lot of that history, a lot of the stuff that people love.
Oh, this is an Xbox
the
interview.
new chapters and the thing. All things considered, they just did the record. I'm gonna kick.
Oh yeah,
right?
Go for it.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, this one's for you, my friend. How do you balance the old and the new? Come on, going from Black
let's
Ops
hear
2 to 6.
I like this guy's energy.
Yeah, I do. It's
I
really
think
nice.
there's different answers for each part of the game, right? We have campaign, we have
Kevin's
multiplayer, and we have zombies.
Right.
And I can speak for zombies when I say it's
Bro's going straight into zombies? Dude, that is not the treatment that we normally get here. Like, normally in these interviews, I can speak for the Call of Duty brand overall. I can speak for Activision Publishing Inc. Like, it's never just straight into zombies. I'm loving that.
a mode
Let's
that
go
actually
in.
started
Let's
as
go straight
an
into it.
Easter egg back in World of War, right? And it has grown over the years.
Yes, it has, most
and
definitely.
initially, it was kind of like the Wild West. So, like, every time we would make a new zombies game, we would just try new things that we thought was cool, right? But over the years, by Black Ops 3, certain things we realized are very important, and we kind of established the DNA of zombies. It's a lot of different like perks and pack-a-punch and really cool maps and hidden quests and all sorts of things. And we realized those certain things are very kind of sacred. And we need to like keep those and iterate on them and make them better, but then always pushing ourselves to do new things, because that's like at the heart of this mode. It's almost like counterculture to COD.
Bro, nah, Kevin Drew's been watching my videos. Bro, I'm gonna insert clips here of me talking about zombies being Call of Duty counterculture. It needs to be anti-COD. Like, zombies, I really truly believe, should be anti-COD in its thesis, right? It should be counterculture to whatever COD is proposing.
You dead-ass called it.
Almost feel
That's
like
so
it's going
funny.
the other way. Zombies used to be a place of counterculture.
Counterculture,
So it felt like
oh my
Call
God.
of Duty counterculture. That was the Treyarch DNA in a really big way. The
That's
counterculture,
so funny.
the fact that he's mentioned that here is so funny to me, and honestly, that gives me so much hope. I'm sorry, Kevin, that I've paused on such a funny screenshot of you here, but
Alright, let's
that gives
go.
me a lot of good, positive signs towards the fact that they recognize this point. They are not shying away from that as a
really good
part
thing.
of the zombies DNA, like he's talking about,
really
right? That is
exciting.
extremely positive. Whether or not he's seen my videos and picked up the language there, or whether or not their marketing team are just like, yeah, I think that it would be a good idea this year for us to kind of position ourselves as kind of being Call of Duty counterculture. Whatever the path is,
Be
I don't care
different.
who's responsible for it. I just care that it's
Basically.
happening, right?
Yep.
Like, that is so good to hear him say those words. Let's keep going.
Where it's like we get to put things in that you would never see in or think that would be in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Right, because it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be
So,
different. It's
yeah.
supposed to be
That
special.
brotherhood theme, and actually, you can kind of look at some of
supposed
that
to be unique.
coming through in COD as well. Speaking thereof, like, we got a really good look at how you guys are actively developing the game. How is what your tech that you're using impacted a lot of that, especially like player movement and the different
I mean,
things
we
that
gotta
people
look
are
at the
able to do
movement
mid-combat?
and the
Yeah, for
combat a little
zombies, I'm
bit.
really curious about
but
this.
yeah,
That's the highlight, the Omni movement. You all saw it today. It's like revolutionary in how you play the game. It just fundamentally changes how you move, and it kind of removes this artificial construct of, like, you know, in real life you can sprint backwards, you can sprint to the side. Like, professional athletes do this all the time. So once we kind of ungated that, or realized we could do that, and we made this massive endeavor, it's changed everything, right? Like, how you play multiplayer is different. How you play zombies is going to be different.
Right.
Like the ability to, sprint backwards while you've got a horde of zombies.
So first of all, obviously that's going to be really interesting to see what it's like being able to
Movement,
sprint backwards and just keep firing at all the zombies. Like, I'm really looking forward to that being equivalent to you running forwards and not shooting the zombies, right? That's going to unlock potentially an entire new sort of skill level of just never actually facing forwards. Like, why would you bother, right? If you can learn the map by you navigating backwards blind,
Sure. And
you can just shoot the zombies at all times.
Too,
That's
so
kind of gnarly to think about.
To
But also, the fact that he's gone to zombies again here, I'm loving Kevin Drew being on the panel for this. Like, the fact that it's not just some other exec at Activision or some other developer high up the food chain at Treyarch, the fact that it's him means he can really speak to zombies at all times, which is, that's a breath of fresh air, man. Like, that's some of the stuff that we've been asking for. So I'm so far, this is going in a really good direction.
I mean, it was very different than MP,
so
where you're taking advantage of other things like supine and all those things. So
look, for us less skilled people, being able to run away from
I think
really
us less skilled.
We're thinking about that. I appreciate it. Hey, you know what your people are kind of hoping for. How do we address that, especially when coming into a new chapter?
It's about trying to deliver something new and also what drew people to the franchise at the same time.
Correct.
I think it's very similar for a lot of the stuff I saw in the Blops Direct,
When you were saying earlier about the pandemic, right? There was challenges with that. In the last game we made, we had to make concessions, and there were certain things that we wanted to bring to zombies that we couldn't, and now this has been the opportunity here to fully realize and make what we think will be the best version of it.
The resources
Dude,
during.
First of all, the fact that they were making concessions in Cold War, we all knew this, obviously, right? We knew that Cold War was a pandemic game, but the fact that Cold War, a game at the level of quality that it is for zombies
which is
specifically,
really good,
had concessions made and things that they couldn't fully realize, and he's just said that they have been able to fully realize those now. That's pretty exciting.
That is very exciting.
Sounds pretty
I
good.
agree.
Big things is bringing back a set crew. Like this idea that who you play as in the story matters a lot.
Yes.
You're growing with them as you progress through the cinematics and just the moment-to-moment gameplay, which you have these emergent moments, and when you have the characters actually have personality and interact with each other, that's huge.
That's what matters, exactly.
For both of them.
Yeah, that's an interesting connection between like zombies and Gears, is that you're inhabiting characters and also playing with your friends and going on these like shared journeys and stories that sort of involve you and the people in the game.
Correct.
It's pretty cool.
It's like when you see how they react, like you might bond closer to this character more than that character based on their reactions, which is
so
really
true.
cool.
I want to know specifically in zombies. Are there some personal touches that y'all put in that you're like, this is for the fans?
Yeah. So I mean, I've worked on every Black Ops game, so I have a lot of very specific examples over the year. Like if you're working on the game, you're putting a part of you in it. Right.
This is the moment where Kevin Drew tells us that there's like 5 unsolved Easter eggs that we've never discovered that
he's about to hit us with like,
in the game.
in this map.
Early days when you're working, like when I was working on campaign levels, I ended up like a Black Ops 2. I named a red shirt in one of the levels I was working on, Crosby, because of a previous game on Black Ops 1. He was like this one-line character, but he was just hilarious to all of us. So I started to name him there, and then I moved to another campaign level and another one, and soon enough there was like 8 levels with Crosby in it, and he had a full character arc.
I mean, Crosby is the Carmine of Black Ops.
And he has his own wiki page. But when he got to zombies, it was sometimes our personal touches are accidental. When we were working on Black Ops 2, we were like a new team working on it.
Wait, what is he gonna say here? I'm actually so curious.
Yeah.
Like,
and we hadn't quite caught up with all of the rules yet, and so when we were determining the eye color for Mob of the Dead, a producer got to ask like what color to make them, and he's just like, I don't know, red. And then
I don't know red.
Excuse me, oh my god.
So the color.
Are you serious?
The reason why their eye color is red is not because of story implications, but just because, I don't know, red sounds cool. That's pretty fucking hilarious. I love that.
Too, like we released the trailer, and the community is like, what is this third faction? What do the red eyes mean? And we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was like the way accident.
That's wild because Mob of the Dead, obviously being the campaign team that were making it, led by Jason at the time, and Kevin being on that team, right? Like that's the unit that Kevin was inside at the time. And so the fact that they didn't really know the rules, and so they just made the
they
eye
just
colors red. It's so
guess.
funny because
That
it's
is very
so
funny.
counter to anything Jason would ever admit ever. Like ever. Like
Jason would
always
never
be like,
admit it.
there's a reason for it, there's a secret there,
We
there's
did
an
this,
Easter
we
egg,
did
it's
this to
impossible
do
to
this,
solve.
yep.
Kevin's like, dunno, bro.
We
That's
didn't
really
know.
funny to me.
I do love that.
Yes, yeah, totally. It worked out. But I think in recent years, not I've been directing the gameplay, the design systems. It's really about I want to bring zombies to more people.
Good.
And so
good.
Approachability has been a key part for me to put in the game. So just really like raising the floor.
Right.
A lot of people, it's a very challenging mode, and so when people try for the first time, they might survive for 2 minutes, and it's like once you get in there and you experience like the higher rounds, it's so much fun. So we want to just make sure that more people can do that.
One day I'm gonna get to those higher rounds.
You're gonna do it.
This is the year.
This
is my time.
This game
the
has got
year?
all sorts of
This
stuff
the
for
year?
you that's gonna help you with that.
This year they've got all sorts of stuff to help it be more
Besides
accessible.
Gobblegums, what are we thinking?
I would have loved for him just then to have
maybe
commented on the hardcore players as well. Kevin, I know that you're very much fully aware that those hardcore players are chomping at the bit, hoping that this year is going to have some good stuff for them. The stuff that I talked about in my recent
Appeal
whiteboard
to
video
casual,
about the fact that the game's online
but
only is looking really negative right now, so I think that hardcore community,
appeal to
even
casual
more than
is
normal,
fine, but
need to be
appeal
spoken to and
both.
addressed to
You
sort
can't
of
just
help
do one.
soothe some of their anxieties and their fears, but obviously I recognize this wasn't necessarily the format for that in this interview, but just at some point, I would like to see that happen. Those high rounders, those speed runners, they need answers on certain things, and ideally they need them sooner rather than later, I would say.
A Black Ops, like picking the 1991, just after the Cold War, those shots of seeing Bush and Clinton talk, ripped directly from my memories. I'm dating myself a little bit, but picking a very specific time. What was going through the heads when we picked that moment to set Black Ops?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe you can't speak to that from the zombie side, but if you can, give me that.
I could give a light touch.
Give me a light touch.
That's part of our DNA, right? Like the Black Ops series goes into very historical, memorable beats and kind of gives you this version that could have existed where there's a deeper story there. There's a lot of espionage and betrayal. And
he's speaking my language. Again, the fact that he's digging into these themes, this stuff that like we as a community all talk about so often, the alternate history kind of element. The devs essentially realized that just as zombies could be Call of Duty counterculture, so in some senses could Treyarch's own campaign storyline. The grounding in reality, the fact that he's calling these out here is just, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
It is really
nice. We don't always get this from Treyarch or from Call of Duty or from Activision. So I think Kevin is killing it in this interview.
Kevin is doing pretty good.
Shadowy Ops, and in this version, right, like this idea of you becoming an enemy of the state, like the actual government is betraying you because they're doing some bad things, and you want to fix it. So it's also just just a very nostalgic era, right? I think a lot of us, at least elder millennials, we're children during this time period, and it's like revisiting those things with a mature perspective is going to be, I think, a lot of fun. But on the zombie side, we left you like on a huge cliffhanger. So basically, Cold War was building up a lot of beats.
The fact that he gave a full answer and then he was like, and also zombies again. Like
he's popping off.
My inner child is being spoken to right now. Like I'm feeling nourished.
Hit us with some bangers, and we're ready to listen.
We at the end, like we kind of just did a huge 180. The director ended up being Edward Richtofen, who is a long-stay zombies character. He betrays your entire squad. He sends them off of prison for 5 years.
Dude, the fact that he's talking about this stuff as well is so good.
Which is good because we didn't really understand.
And we're here now in the early '90s picking up the pieces. So the crew have been in prison for 5 years. They've been just Sarah Connoring, basically just doing a lot of push-ups and just ready for revenge.
Yeah.
All right, look, the voices in my head are telling me that we don't have a whole bunch more time left. I want to know what you got final thoughts to leave the people with before they get a chance to do their own research. And
sometimes when devs comment on the story and they kind of over-explain it, it's frustrating. It feels like exposition that should have been in-game, and in-game it shouldn't have just been pure exposition. It should have been like shown and not told, right? Like it's almost 2 steps removed from what would actually be ideal. I think Kevin's actually walked a really good line there. I think that he's managed to adequately reference the events that we all know took place at the end of Cold War. He's given a teeny tiny bit more flavor that, like, we're now maybe sort of looking for our revenge or something. That as a concept, as a premise, is something that hasn't been explicitly stated in any of the marketing material so far, but the fact that it's now implied it's really cool. It's cool to think what that might look like with Edward as the bad guy, basically, as we go towards the end of this year's content. But I think that he's done it in a really smart way, because he's not overstepped and just started explaining too much, and that's very easily done. So again, I mean, I want to be giving credit where it's due here, I think.
Digging.
I think the same thing, where it's like I've been waiting like literally years to just say round-based zombies is going to be a Black Ops 6.
Yes.
Dude, I know, for real. Fuck
and,
Outbreak.
I think we've set out to make the best version of it. So I think I'm just the entire team is very passionate about the mode, and we're bringing things back from the past, like Gobblegums, and among other things, and I think we're gonna really...
Wait, what are the other things that you're bringing back?
Interesting.
Like what?
Make something special here, and we hope
maybe Specialist from BO3
Drop a like
too?
if you enjoyed the video, and remember, you can get a disc.
That's it?
Like,
okay. I hope maybe it's like Specialist from BO3, or maybe, no, I wouldn't want it from BO4. But yeah, Specialist from BO3 where, like, you can build, you know, the buildables and special weapons and shit. That'd be really cool. Maybe, like, some special grenades or something. I don't know. But, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was good. I really liked it. For me, there's a bunch of things I'm interested in, like the story. So now we kind of know our characters have been locked up in prison for a couple years. When we start out in this game, they're going to be broken free, have their chance, and now they're having their time to hopefully get revenge on Edward Richtofen, which last time we saw him, before Cold War, he was the good guy, right? But now it looks like, as the director, this new version of him, he maybe isn't as good as we thought. Or maybe we're being led to think he's the bad guy, and we just don't know what his true intentions are. But anyways, y'all, as always, let me know what you're excited about most for this upcoming game, particularly zombies. Or you can, you could say campaign and all that. But specifically speaking zombies, what are you excited for the most? I'm curious what other systems they do bring back. Hopefully we get more information as the months go on. This game comes out October, like, 26th or something. Or 27th. Or is it October 17? I don't remember. It's like 17 or 16 or 20. I don't know. But anyways, middle to late October this game comes out. So you know I'm going to be covering it. It's going to be hard, though, because I'm going to be covering Dragon Ball Sparking Zero 2, which also comes out October 7th. So, you know, I'll have a game on my mind first. So I've got to get as much content of that as I can. But anyways, next time, I'll catch y'all later. Love you guys. Bye.